Shalom. And first I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKadosh. And double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Pakala. And I asked ChatGPT, what is the War Powers Act? Because we're hearing about war. We're seeing wars in different places, and we're seeing acts of war. And we know that Esau has been blessed with the sword, so he goes about the world conquering who he will. And we're seeing even Donald Trump with his threats of war going out to different places, and his various acts, his latest one being in Venezuela. Now he's got his eyes aimed at Iran. But I just wanted to compare how Esau conducts his war, who he considers, as opposed to the Israelites. All right, the Israelites, anytime they're headed to war, or were headed to war in past times, they would always consider the Lord and stay within the laws of the Lord. Of course, we know that according to Exodus, 15:3, that the Lord is a man of war. I'm going to bring that out real quick. Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3 says, the Lord Yahweh is a man of war, and the Lord Yahweh is his name. So there is no greater warrior, no one greater at war than the Lord Yahweh. All right, he being the creator of all things, and yeah, he created war. He just read it right there. He's a man of war. So before I bring in the other scriptures out, I only have a few, so this probably won't be very long, but just wanted to take a look and see what this War Powers Act is about. And ChatGPT says the War Powers Resolution, also known as the War Powers Act, is a U.S. federal law passed in 1973 that limits the president's ability to engage in armed conflict without congressional approval. Its primary goal is to ensure that the president does not unilaterally involve the United States in prolonged military conflicts without oversight or consent from Congress. So we see that this latest act, instead of calling this an act of war, they said that this was, instead of having the military involved, they said that this was an arrest that was taking place, and how they can go to another country and make an arrest and bring them to the United States to stand trial is kind of a new thing, because I don't remember that occurring in the past at any time. But with their new legislation, where the president is able to go in and sign up executive orders, they can damn near make up whatever they want to make up and do it. And as you see, Donald Trump don't have a problem with doing it. He does just that. I don't think this is very long, but I'm going to read most of it, if not all of it. It says the key provisions of the War Powers Act. One, it says presidential notification. The president must notify Congress within 48 hours of committing U.S. forces to military action. It says the withdrawal of forces. If military forces are involved in hostilities, the president must withdraw them within 60 days unless Congress has authorized the use of force or declaration of war. And this period can be extended by an additional 30 days if the president certifies that more time is needed for the safe withdrawal of forces. So according to that, he can go in there 60 days without declaring war and extending an additional 30 days if he feels like more time is needed. So that's 90 days right off the rip that he can stay in there and occupy other lands without declaring war. Verse 3 says congressional consultation. It says the law mandates that the president consult with Congress in every possible instance before introducing the U.S. troops into hostilities. And under this latest infraction, they felt it necessary to not consult Congress, or not to tell them, not to get any consultation, because their excuse was that because there are leaks that are in Congress. So they got a way around everything. He could just make up another executive order if he wants to, if he has too many problems. 4 says congressional resolutions. Says Congress can pass a concurrent resolution to require the withdrawal of U.S. forces if it feels that military action is not warranted. This does not require the president's signature. And background, it says the War Powers Act was passed in the wake of the Vietnam War and the Korean War, where presidents had committed U.S. forces to combat without full congressional approval. Now, as I recall, occupation in Vietnam was well past 90 days. So I guess it must have been a declaration of war that was declared at a given time. It says the lawmakers felt that it was crucial to prevent future presidents from engaging in similar military actions without consulting Congress. Controversy and debate. It says the effectiveness and the constitutionality of the War Powers Act have been debated. Many presidents, including recent ones, have argued that the law is unconstitutional, as they believe the president's role as commander-in-chief of the armed forces grants him the authority to make military decisions. But that don't give you the right to send somebody else's sons and daughters to another country without going through the laws that you put together yourself, which says that you have to go through Congress for an approval there. All right. It says in practice, some presidents have ignored or circumvented the War Powers Act, stating that they do not need to follow its provisions in certain situations. And finally, here in the summary, it says, in essence, the War Powers Act is designed to strike a balance between the president's power as commander-in-chief and Congress's authority to declare war. However, its application has been inconsistent, and its true impact is often debated, with some seeing it as a necessary check on presidential power, while others view it as an unconstitutional limitation. So in any event, even though they made up these laws, they don't follow them. The presidents don't care. They do whatever the hell they want to do. We've seen that with both of the Bushes. We've seen that with Barack Obama, and we're seeing that right now with Donald Trump. So these guys make these laws, but these laws, they don't care about it, because they know they won't have to suffer any consequence. They know nothing's going to happen to them. All right, they might have to answer a couple questions here and there, but for the most part, nothing happens to them. You got even world laws that they're supposed to follow, in concordance with war. But you can see even when they're violated by other leaders around the world, you'll have certain countries that'll declare them to be a war criminal, and other countries won't even declare them to be a war criminal. So they still, for the most part, they go away. These leaders go do what they want to do, and they go away unscathed. Nothing ever happens to them, unless the United States or Israel decides that, hey, somebody needs to be taken out, or some leader needs to be taken care of because he's been rogue, or he's going contrary to what they have intended him to go. In other words, they set up a certain government. They expect it to go just the way they set it up. And if that leader deviates from what they planned on having him do, then they can declare him to be a criminal, and they end up taking him out. So they don't follow these laws. They do whatever they want to do. All right, and I just wanted to make a couple comparisons here. I got a couple verses that I wanted to bring out for how the Israelites in past times, with the considerations and what consultations they took when they were considering going into war. They always considered the Lord, because they know if the Lord wasn't with them, they would go into battle and more than likely not be victorious. All right. I'm going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 20. And I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, this is Israel's history after the Exodus. It says, these be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side of Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel, and Laban and Hazeroth and Dizahab. Said there are 11 days journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel according to all the Lord Yahweh had given him in commandment unto them, after he had slain Sihon. Let's see, do I have the right verse that I wanted to bring out? I'm Salaki. I'm in Deuteronomy chapter 1. I wanted to go to Deuteronomy chapter 20. I didn't think that was sounding right. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 20. Salaki for that. I wanted to be in chapter 20 because these are the laws of warfare. All right. And again, I'm going to read verse. I'm probably going to go down to about we'll see how far I have to go here. But the heading here says laws of warfare. And you know what? I'm gonna bring it up on bring it up here. Deuteronomy chapter 20. All right, and you can see the heading there said these are the laws of warfare that the Israelites consider when they're going to war. It says, when thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for the Lord Yahweh thy power is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. See, that's what I was speaking on earlier, is that when the Lord was with the Israelites in battle, it didn't matter. It didn't matter how many they were going up against. They could be outnumbered, because the Lord Yahweh is a man of war, and you're not going to beat his army. All right, if he's with that army, he's going to be with them, and they're going to be victorious. Verse 2, it says, and it shall be, when ye are come nigh into the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies, and let not your hearts or your minds faint. Fear not, and do not tremble, neither be you terrified because of them. For the Lord Yahweh, your power, is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And it says to fight for you. All right. So like I said, when the Lord was with the Israelites, when they went into battle, you weren't going to beat them, because you're not going to beat the Lord. He's a man of war. Verse 5 says, and the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, what man is there that hath built a new house, and hath not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. So there's instances where you may be, or where certain men were excluded from war. All right. And I won't go through all of these, but I'm going to, maybe I'll read down to about verse 8 here. It says, verse 6 says, and what man is he that hath planted a vineyard, and hath not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. See, now these things aren't considered in Esau's army. He don't care. Once he decides that he's going to declare war, the president, none of his family's going into war, so he don't care. He's sending young people to war that he don't have no affiliation with, other than him being the commander in chief. So he don't care if you're having a baby or not. He don't care if you got a vineyard or not. He's sending you to war, and that's where you're going, because he believes that he is really the commander in chief. He doesn't realize that the Lord is commanding his moves also. All right. I'm going to go there and bring that one out. Let's see. I'm going to go over to Proverbs. Chapter 21 and verse 1, and the heading there says on life and conduct. So these leaders don't realize, even when they're going to the war, they're being led by Hashem Yahushai, because like I just showed you in Exodus, the Lord is a man of war. So when these wars come about, these wars get declared by these leaders, they believe that they are really the ones who are doing this, but ultimately it's the Lord who's leading them to do these things and putting it on their minds to do it. Verse 1 here in Proverbs 21 says, the king's heart, and his heart is the mind, is in the hand of the Lord Yahweh. As the rivers of the water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. In the NLT it said, the king's heart is like a stream of water directed by the Lord Yahweh. He guides it wherever he pleases. So the Lord puts it in these men's head to go to war and to make these different declarations that they do. All right. I just wanted to show that since I spoke on it. All right. I'm going to go back into Deuteronomy. I think I was... All right, and verse 6 says, and what man is he that hath planted a vineyard, and hath not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. Verse 7 says, and what man is there that hath betrothed a wife, and hath not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. So even if Israelite man had just betrothed a wife, or been engaged to a wife, and hadn't had a chance to consummate his marriage, which constitutes marriage, all right, the consummation of it, having the sex, all right. So in the Lord's army, his people, the Israelites, he considereth all these things, all right. Verse 8 says, and the officers shall speak further unto the people. They shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart or his mind faint as well as his heart. All right. So that feeling of fear, that emotion of having that fear and that panic on you, that can be contagious and spread throughout the army. All right. So if you have that fearful heart on you, or that fearful mind, then the Lord doesn't want you in his army. All right. Lord, being a man of war, that's the kind of men that he wants when he's going into war. All right. He wants men who are going to gird themselves up and do just that, go to war. All right. All right, I'm going to stop there on Deuteronomy 20, and I'm going to go let's see. All right, Salakia. All right, Salakia for that. I wanted to. All right, I only had a few more verses that I wanted to bring out here on and I just finished verse 8. I'm going to stop there in Deuteronomy 20, verse 8, but I wanted to go over, it's in the same book. I'm going to stay in Deuteronomy. I'm going over to chapter 23. Verse 9, Deuteronomy 23 and verse 9 says, when the host goeth forth against thine enemies, then keep thee from every wicked thing. And I wanted to take a look at that word host. And it is H4264. And I'll give you a pronunciation.
Strong's H4264. Machane.
And under the biblical usage, I'm going to go down to 1B. It says camp of armed host, army camp. So when you see that word host, it means army. Or an encampment, or a camp where the army is. Strong's definition says an encampment of travelers or troops, hence an army, whether literal or figurative. All right. So in the NLT, it says, when you go to war against your enemies, be sure to stay away from anything that is impure. So the Lord has his army consider all these things. You don't want anything impure that's going to defile the rest of the camp, that's going to defile the rest of the army. It says verse 10 back in the KJV, if there be among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanness, that chanceth him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp. He shall not come within the camp. In the NLT, it says any man who becomes ceremonially defiled because of nocturnal emission must leave the camp and stay away all day. So even if you have a defilement such as this, a nocturnal emission, all right, the Lord considers all things. All right, he don't want that man to this is one way a man could become unclean. So he doesn't want that unclean man around the other men. All right, so he said he would go out from the camp and stay out until sundown. All right. And there's certain other laws that show when a man is unclean, but we're not gonna go there. I'm just in the interest of staying with this, what this lesson is about, just going over what the Lord does for his army, the Israelites, when they go to war. Verse 11 said this, but it shall be when evening cometh on, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again. All right, which I already mentioned. I didn't realize I was going to say it there. All right. All right, so the Lord considers all things when he's has his army. All right, he's the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies. All right, so he considers all things with the Israelites when they're going into war. Just a couple more I wanted to bring out here. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 5 says, when a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, which they covered already in, I believe, Deuteronomy 20. It says, when a man hath taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he hath taken. All right, so like I said, the Lord considers all things, all right? Because it's important that man be able to consummate his marriage, and if he have children, right, especially if he's bringing out another son, he wants that man to be able to be there for his children and for his wife for 1 year. All right, and I just got one more that I wanted to bring out, and that'll be the end of this. Like if it's going long on this. And I'm going to go over to Luke chapter 14. And so like I know I'm kind of all over the place on this, but I just wanted to bring out these few verses on what the Lord considers. All right, he's better than any Congress, better than any president. All right, consult the Lord before going to war. It says, or what king, verse 30, Luke 14:31, or what king going to make war against another king? And this is in the red letter, so this is Yahweh Shai speaking. It says, verse 31, or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. All right, and these, like I said, these kings, if they were kings that are Israelites, and considering that the Lord being with them, even if the Lord being with you, even if you're outnumbered, when the Lord's with you, the Lord's on your side, that army's not going to beat the Lord. It's not going to beat the Lord's army, because the Lord is a man of war. All right, and these leaders of these various countries, these heathen nations and Esau, they don't consider this kind of thing. They don't care, because they think they're swore. They think that their armies, they all believe that their armies are superior to the next army. All right, and they have the various weapons that they use, and they believe so much in those weapons. All right, they don't consider the Lord. All right, and not to make this too long, I just wanted to bring out a few verses on what the Lord does for his army. All right, and what the Lord has his army to consider when they're good and ready to go into war. All right, it's totally different than what the War Powers Act is, because it gives all the honor, so to speak, and it gives all the power to whether it be a president or whether it be some king in some other country. They go and consult with their military leaders and make up their plans. All right, they don't even consider the Lord. All right, but like I said, with the Lord being the one who is in control of these things, he's the one who puts it on in their minds, the way that they're going to act and the way they're going to proceed. Because like it says in Proverbs 21:1, it says the king's heart, or the king's mind, is in the hands of the Lord, all right? The Lord is in control of all these wars and what their outcomes will be, all right? But I'm going to end it there. And I pray that this has been edifying to the listener. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKadosh. Shalom.